Hello everyone and welcome to my video on half position. This video was inspired by a subscriber and I'm very glad for the inspiration because it's a very interesting subject. There are two different ways of playing in half position and the hand position is very different, and one has to be very clear in one's mind about which of the two ways one is using, because otherwise the hand position will not be secure and that will lead to problems with intonation. I'm going to use examples of the double of the sarabande in Bach's B minor Partita, because here we have both versions of half position. First of all, there's the actual half position. That means that the hand shifts down into half position and back up again into first position. For example, bar 4. You could clearly see I shifted down into half position and shifted back up again. One of the common mistakes is to forget that one has to shift back up into first position, that from half position to first position is a shift, just like from any other position to another position. So a common mistake is, and then to try and stretch it, and then you don't really have a proper hand position for first position, and that brings intonation problems. So it's very important when you're using this version of half position to remember to shift back up again. Shift, so that the next notes are in tune. Bars 6, 7 and 8 is the same thing again. We shift down to half position and then back up again into first position. Shift, shift back up again, down again, back up again. So we're shifting between first position and half position all the time. I'll show you again without talking. So treat those shifts as normal, regular shifts, because only that way will you have a secure hand position in first position, in half position, and in first position again. Bar 23 and bar 24 are a good example for an unusually long stretch of half position. That's unusual. Usually one only has a few notes in half position. This is really an unusually long stretch of half position, and intonation is difficult in half position. First of all, because we're not used to half position. It doesn't come that often, and certainly not used to such a long time in half position for so many notes. And the notes are further away in half position than they are in first position. So that's a really tricky bit for intonation. The other way of using half position is the augmented or stretched way. In this case, the hand remains in first position and the first finger stretches down to half position. So the first finger has two notes to play. But the hand position remains in first position and the first finger reaches down. One does that when there's no point to shift down and back up again, but it's always a little bit difficult for intonation. An example of this is bar 21. We only have the A sharp in half position, so there's no point in shifting backwards and forwards. But the nasty thing about it is you have that that's difficult with intonation and needs to be secured off. Bar 25 is another example of this. The hand remains in first position and the first finger moves down to half position. It's a movement only done by the finger. It's not a shift. A shift would mean the whole hand goes down. But this is just the finger moving down. There again, the intonation problem. Very uncomfortable. Bar 28 is another example of this. Yeah, you see my intonation. It's really difficult. Very uncomfortable because you have this augmented position between second and first finger. Second finger is in first position and first finger is in half position. It helps to secure that off by playing the string crossings and double stops. Yeah, terrible, really difficult. So that's another example of this augmented half position, and one really has to teach one's hand the distance between the second finger C sharp, first finger A sharp, second finger F sharp, first finger A sharp, second finger C sharp, and one really has to secure that, and then when you play it, hope it comes off. Bar 31 is another example of this. Same thing. First finger stretches down. You can see it's just the finger changing its angle. It's not a shift. Because that's still better than shifting. Because that you would be doing with your whole arm and hand. That would just make it even more insecure. So for that one note, it's easier to change the angle of the first finger and bring it back up again. So you see which of the versions of half position we use, whether we use the shifted version or the augmented or stretched version, depends on the context. Bar 28, for example. We've only got the A sharp in half position, and our second finger is our longest finger, so it makes sense to stretch with the second finger because it's our longest finger, and nobody would shift down and back up again here. Nobody would do that. So here it's completely clear that the augmented version is the best version. Bars 23 and 24 are a good example where the augmented version of half position are not a good idea at all, because you'd have several notes to play with the first finger in both positions. You'll never get that securely in tune, and it feels horrible. It absolutely does not work. For this bit, one definitely uses the shifted half position. And then while you play the open D string, shift back into first position. Uncomfortable, but nowhere near as uncomfortable as the alternative. Okay, I hope you find this helpful. Let me know in the comments if you have any questions, and happy practicing to all of us.